Hi everyone, my name is Ryan Lane, and welcome to my review channel. So for today's movie, I will be reviewing Transformers 1, directed by Josh Cooley, and starring Chris Hemsworth, Brian Tyree Henry, Scarlett Johansson, Keegan-Michael Steve Buscemi, Laurence Fishburne, and Jon Hamm. So on the planet Cybertron, things aren't going so well. Ever since the Quintessons attacked Cybertron 50 cycles ago, as for what actual unit of time that is, years, let's say, months, whatever. They're robots. They live longer than humans. Anyway, ever since the Quintessons attacked, the Transformers, they've had to manually mine for Energon, the life source of Transformers. And since Energon is no longer flowing freely, not all Transformers can transform. The society of Aya Kansei is now this dual-tiered between those who can transform and those who can't transform. Those who can't transform have to work in the mines, which are very dangerous since Cybertron seems to be this ever shape-shifting planet, and so a cave-in is like exponentially much worse than, like a regular cave-in on planet Earth. Hoping to end the Energon drought and impress their leader Sentinel Prime, played by Jon Hamm, minor bots Orion Pax, played by Chris Hemsworth, and D-16, played by Brian Tyree Henry, set off to the surface of Cybertron to find the mythical Matrix of Leadership. Along the way, they'll be joined by fellow minor bots Elita 1, played by Scarlett Johansson, and B-127, played by Keegan-Michael. Friendships will be forged, alliances will be broken, and secrets will be revealed. So the performances are a touch over the map. Chris Hemsworth, though he can't compete with Peter Cullen's naturally awesome voice, he does prove to be a decent substitute to play Optimus Prime as a more younger and more naive, but still optimistic Transformer. Brian Tyree Henry brings to life the cynical lust for revenge of Megatron quite nicely, and even manages to lend this otherwise PG film some much needed intensity at times. Like, there are some moments where he's like, oh wow, okay, this movie's going there. Okay, yeah, we're dipping into Transformers the movie 1986 territories. Like, not quite 1986, like where everyone dies, but still, it does lend the proceedings some much needed intensity. Scarlett Johansson is alright as Elita 1, as her delivery can be kind of flat at times. She does get some funny lines. And Keegan-Michael as B-127, or, B... let me put it this way. He is much funnier than what the trailers would suggest. Like, in the trailers, he looks insufferable. In the movie, he does get some funny lines here and there, but he flies dangerously close to Jar Jar Binks levels of unfunny. I will say that, because the film tries to make Badassatron a thing, and it's not a thing. It was unfunny the first time, and it's unfunny the 72nd time. And despite not having the most unique characterization to work with, Jon Hamm is clearly having a ball as Sentinel Prime, the charismatic leader of the Transformers, with a couple of skeletons in his closet. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But again, like I said, Jon Hamm, he brings some nice gravitas to the role, and all the actors in general work well off each other. And I will say, again, when I saw the trailers, the lack of synth in their voices, I was like, oh, that just feels wrong. I mean, again, I know this is a show, it's a movie based off a show that was designed solely to sell toys that came out of Reagan deregulating the TV industry, but I don't know, it just felt weird hearing their voices without reverb, but I gradually got used to it, and it even kind of works in some cases for certain characters. I mean, at the end of the day, I might have preferred it, but the way the voices were, they were decent enough as was. So the screenplay is a touch front-loaded with exposition, but it does an otherwise decent job of conveying information about the Cybertronian world in a visual and compelling manner without resorting to undramatized exposition. The plot beats, they can be familiar to anyone who's familiar with the Transformers series, or for that matter, basic storytelling 101. Thankfully, the film has a decent amount of charm, plus it manages to have Orion Pax and D16's character arcs unfold in pretty solid manner. Like at the very end, like their arcs converge and you see them go from being Orion Pax and D16 to Optimus Prime and Megatron. It's easily like one of the most emotional and most visually amazing parts of the film. So easily one of the best parts of the movie is the animation. The animation is fluid and it takes proper advantage of the characters' transforming abilities, and it shows why Transformers is best suited to the animation genre as a whole. The animation can be a touch hard to track at times. It's not like Michael Bay levels of chaotic, like, where am I supposed to look on the screen here, folks? But like, there are certain moments where I was like, did I miss something? And a character will say something. It's like, oh, this happened to this character. I was like, oh yeah, that did happen, because I think the film sort of just throws a lot at you in a very short amount of time, and that kind of dovetails into the next part of my review. So there are two main problems with this movie. Well, the first is with the pacing. As while the film is reasonably well paced on a macro level in terms of beginning, middle, and end, like on a micro level, it's literally a different story. Plot beats within some scenes go by way too fast and hinder emotional moments from hitting as hard as they should. I mean, the emotional moments still work, I would say, but I feel like this film could have used some breathing room. I mean, this film is an hour 40. I feel like I could have tolerated a few extra minutes on this movie just so it didn't have to feel like, because this movie feels like it's like, okay, we gotta go. I mean, the film does take a few moments to slow down, smell the roses, but a good chunk of the runtime is just them like moving as quickly as the Transformers themselves do. So the next big issue is with the humor, as, again, this film is not an unfunny mess to sit through. Like, there are solid moments where I was consistently laughing. There's one line about working for the government that had me laughing my butt off in the theater. But, I don't know, it's like the writers, they didn't have faith in their own jokes, and so it feels like they're trying to move the plot as quickly as they can. And if that was the case, I can kind of see why, because there are some moments where I was like, really? Again, and a lot of these unfunny moments are due to Keegan-Michael Key's delivery as B-127, because I feel like at least half of the film's unfunny moments can be traced right back to that character. So, though it doesn't quite transform, see what I did there? The Transformers series as we know it, Transformers 1 has just enough wit and pathos to unite Transformers fans. So with all that in mind, I will be giving Transformers 1 3 out of 5 stars. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. If you like this review and would like to see more like it, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. And for today's comment section prompt of the day, what is your favorite Transformers movie and why?